Right now on 7 Eyewitness News at 6. Just how often are your elected officials actually showing up to work? An I-team investigation and a new response to it tonight. Also, the vaccine rollout at nursing homes here in New York. Are workers being vaccinated? We have an in-depth look at the latest numbers. And a Buffalo Bills merchandise blitz, how the team's success is helping some businesses really boom.
Now broadcasting and streaming live from 7 Broadcast Plaza, this is 7 Eyewitness News at 6.
Good evening once again. I'm Keith Ranford. Our top story here on 7 Eyewitness News at 6. New reaction tonight to a 7 Eyewitness News I-team investigation that found Erie County's taxpayer watchdog rarely actually shows up at the office. The I-team went through nearly 1,500 pages of attendance records, comparing how much time that the controller, Stefan Mychajliw, and his rival, County Executive Mark Poloncarz, actually spend in the office at work. Our chief investigator, Charlie Speck, breaks down the data and has a new response tonight from the controller.
During his 8 years in office, Erie County Comptroller Stefan Mychajliw has built a reputation as an aggressive taxpayer watchdog.
They deserve a champion in the Rath Building. They deserve a fighter in the Rath Building, someone who's going to fight for their interests every single day.
But one thing the county comptroller isn't telling taxpayers is that according to county data, he rarely shows up to work here at the Rath County Office Building. 7 Eyewitness News filed a Freedom of Information request for 12 months of attendance information for the county's top leaders, including Poloncarz and Mychajliw. Security at the Rath Building requires employees to swipe their ID badges to unlock the doors to their offices. The I-team sifted through 1,400 pages of swipe records for a one-year period, half of which occurred before the COVID-19 pandemic and half after. From September 2019 through August 2020, Mychajliw stepped into his office at least once on a total of 62 weekdays, but he showed no swipes on 190 weekdays and swiped in on 7 weekend days or holidays. During that same time frame, Poloncarz swiped into his office at least once on a total of 213 weekdays. He showed no swipes on 40 weekdays and swiped in on 32 weekend days or holidays. On average, Mychajliw showed up to his office 5 weekdays per month and was not at the office 16 weekdays per month. Poloncarz showed up to his office on average 18 weekdays per month and was not at the office 3 weekdays per month.
I don't mind working hard. I feel like the people get good value from the work that I put in based on the hours that I put in. You may not always agree with my decisions, but I hope people will never disagree with the amount of effort that we put in to serve them. And when you're in these positions, that's what you should do.
We gave Mychajliw, who makes $80,000 per year, and Poloncarz, who makes $118,000 per year, chances to explain their attendance records at the Rath Building. Only Poloncarz agreed to an interview. He criticized Mychajliw's work habits.
And the county controller is one of the more responsible jobs that you're going to see in all of Western New York. You're the chief financial officer for a $1.5 billion entity. If this was a private entity, and the CFO for the private entity was showing up 2-3 days a week for a $1.5 billion company, they would have been fired.
In the one-year period reviewed by 7 Eyewitness News, the only month in which Mychajliw spent more weekdays in the office at the Rath Building than he spent out of the office was June 2020, the same month of the Republican primary for New York's 27th Congressional District. Mychajliw finished last in a 3-way race.
Kevin Hardwick is part of a political party that supports Black Lives Matter.
Mychajliw may not be at the office much, but he appears to spend a lot of time posting videos about political opponents, often during the workday.
Is on the political payrolls of Mark Poloncarz, the Democratic Party boss, and the Democratic Party.
He's aggressive in his tactics on Poloncarz, claiming the county executive violated COVID-19 lockdowns by playing hockey.
Rules for thee, but not for me.
Poloncarz says Mychajliw should focus on his job description and showing up to work.
If that's his goal, is to stalk me because he thinks he can criticize me, he's doing the office wrong. The best way to do it is to come in and focus on the job. And I know, from having been the county controller, there's no way you can do this job well coming in 1 or 2 days a week.
Now, Mychajliw refused to sit down with us today and answer our questions, but he did release a 7-minute video to his YouTube page that did not really respond to the information we dug up, but it did take aim again at polling cars. Generally, though, Mychajliw in that video said that his secretary often buzzes him in, which is why his swipe card data would not always show up on the record.
And a lot of times when our outer door is open, Linda, our front secretary, she is so sweet, she has a buzzer that hits the door and electronically lets me in without having to use my ID.
Now, Mychajliw also revealed videos of himself at the Rath Building, but those videos did not correspond with any of the dates we analyzed during that one-year period. We analyzed card swipes from September 2019 through August 2020, and Mychajliw posted videos of himself working earlier this month. Keith?
All right, Charlie, there's another issue that has come up here as well. Mychajliw responding tonight to questions about this story, whether or not he personally took part in the riots on Capitol Hill in Washington a couple of weeks ago. What's this all about?
Yeah, that was not part of our original story, Keith, but County Executive Poloncarz and April Baskin, the chairwoman of the legislature, are making an issue of it, saying that there was, quote, growing public perception that he was indeed part of that rally. Mychajliw responded to that and said he was not there for the riot on Capitol Hill. He provided video at the Rath Building, purportedly taken on January 6th, that showed he was at work here in Erie County and not in Washington.
All right, Charlie, thanks for the update on that tonight.